Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to another review. Now if you thought that last Hornby brake van I looked at was a little bit expensive, you ain't seen nothing yet. So you guys said that you wanted to see some more brake vans, so I thought why not take a look at a Bachmann brake van today. So I picked up another one. It is this, the Bachmann Pillbox brake van. So let's talk a little bit about what I paid for this then. Now I'm going to tell you the RRP, but fair warning, if you've got heart problems or a delicate stomach or something like that, look away now, because if this doesn't give you a palpitation, I don't know what will. Are you ready for the RRP? The RRP for this is £33.95. I mean, good God, £33.95. To be absolutely fair, as you can probably tell, this is a weathered version. The unweathered version of the Bachmann Pillbox is available for £29.95, but that's still £5 more expensive than the Hornby LSWR brake that I looked at, and we all thought that was rather expensive. However, you know me, if I had to pay that kind of price for a brake van, I wouldn't have done it, yet here it is right now, so obviously I must have got it a great deal cheaper. And the reason for that is presumably that the retailers realise that they're just not going to shift them for that price, or even, 10-15% off that price. And sure enough, I bought this one here from Rails of Sheffield for £17.50, which is going on half price. Obviously that's a lot more like it. It's within the realms of sort of affording it there, I guess. If you're interested in picking one of these up, I do have an affiliate link in the description. But for the time being, let's open it up and find out what this is like. So, needless to say then, the expectations for this are incredibly high. I did not realise you could buy a brake van for as much as over 30 quid in 00 gauge. It's just crazy stuff. Obviously, the last time I bought a Bachmann brake van, at great expense, I might add, it was the Queen Mary, and it was an incredibly basic model. I was quite disappointed in it. However, looking through the front of the box, I can at least see some sort of separately fitted handrails and quite a lot of detail going on inside there. So I can't speak for anyone who's paid like 30 quid for one of these, but for £17.50 I would have said that this is going to be a reasonable value purchase for £17.50. So let's take a look then. Let me show you the end of the box. There's the product code at the top there, 38-404A. It's a Southern Railway Pillbox brake van, BR departmental, olive green, weathered. So that's interesting. I would not have said that was olive green. That definitely looks grey, although presumably the weathering will have done something to the colour, I suppose. Right, well, let's open this up and find out what this is like. I'd be very interested to know. I'm expecting a bit of metalwork, obviously a lot of detail, and hopefully a degree of weight as well, which should hopefully elevate it up above the likes of the Hornby and Oxford ones I've reviewed, which were quite light. We do have a detail bag, which is not something I think I've had from a cheaper brake van before, so let's take a look at this. So inside there, well, to my layman brain, that looks like some brake rigging of some description. It appears some of it's weathered and some of it's not. Whether that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure. No instructions or anything with this though, so you've got to sort of figure that out on your own. So I'm going to stick with that guess. Yep, I think that's brake rigging. Okay, let's bring this out of its packaging then. Here we go. Well, it must be said it's well packaged. Let's take this off. It's got some paper covering the top. Yeah, I guess that must have helped. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. There's like a big burn mark around the top of the chimney. Yeah, I wonder if that must be part of the weathering, mustn't it? Although obviously the weather ain't done that. That must have been the chimney. Anyway, look at that. Yeah, this looks really, really cool. Incidentally, I don't really know why these are called pillboxes. They don't particularly look like pillboxes, do they? I do know that they were a new design of brake van designed to fit onto the frames of an older design, which is why obviously the actual brake van part, the interior, is so much smaller than the frame. Whether that's where they got their nickname, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, the level of detail on this looks to be really quite good. Worth 30 quid plus? I'm not entirely sure I can say at this point. However, I would say that looks promising. So let's take a close look and find out for sure. Alright, so there it is close up, and as you can tell, it's a really smart looking brake van, really nice and neat and tidy, as well it should be, of course, for the frankly ludicrous price tag. So I have weighed this in, and I'm glad to say that this is a fairly beefy old brake van. It weighs in at 42 grams, which is about 4 to 5 grams heavier than the Hornby LSWR 20-ton brake van, even though that the, well, upper part of this at least, is smaller than that Hornby brake van. So brake van density is absolutely fine. It is also worth saying that there is no metal construction on this, at least not that I can see. The frame here does appear to be made of plastic, which is a shame because if that was sort of die-cast, that would be a really good justification for the massive price. Alas though, it is done in plastic. One thing I will address though is the weathering. Now, it's not all that good, which is a problem given that it adds £4 to the RRP. As you can see on the steps here, it's sort of come off, which makes it look very superficial and not very authentic. And then up around the top, around the sort of chimney, even though I love the idea of having it blackened, if you look up close, you can clearly see sort of blobs of paint around there, which again makes it not very convincing. So yeah, the weathering isn't all that impressive, to be honest. It's pretty decent, but I would say given that it actually adds quite a lot to the price, it ought to have been a little bit better than that, given that people could just do it on their own for quite little cost. Let's take a look at some of the details though, because as you can see, it looks to be reasonably well detailed. So paintwork wise, it's looking good. As you can see, all of the printed details on there are looking fantastic. We've also got a little, presumably tampo printed warning sign on there, I think. I'll try and get a close up so that you can see that. We also have separately fitted handrails, which is always great to see. I'm really glad they're not moulded on with this one, given the price. And also the weathering helps to make those look a little bit more realistic, which is good to see. The lamp irons on the ends of the verandas here, as you can tell, are not separately fitted, and as a consequence you've got a little bit of paint bleed off those onto the bodywork. Again, for the money, wouldn't have been unreasonable to expect those to be separately fitted. But we do have these brackets up top on the verandas which appear to be separately fitted and quite fine as well, so I'm going to have to be very, very careful not to touch those. We also have the ducket. That is the word that was on the tip of my tongue during the Hornby brake van review, so thank you for everyone who reminded me of that. That's quite nicely fitted. Once again, you have got sort of gaps around it, which I always don't really like. It just makes it look as though it's just been sort of glued in place rather than actually built as a part of the brake van as it would be in real life. But that's not too bad because it has got the glazing on it, as you can see, and quite some interesting riveting detail on there, which is quite good. The frame of the brake van is quite convincing as well. As you can see, loads of moulded detail there, and obviously with the weathering, the underframe, the sort of springs and everything, looks really quite realistic, which is great. The buffers here do appear to be made of metal, once again very realistic looking with the weathering on them, but they're not sprung or anything like that. Now obviously, yes, sprung buffers on rolling stock is not something we normally see, but then going on for 40 quid for a brake van is not something we normally see. So once again, yeah, high expectations. It's a little shame that they didn't put sprung buffers on this thing. Even though I've not fitted any of the accessories from the detail bag, you can see quite a lot of detail going on underneath the brake van, which is good to see. Love the attention to detail there. The verandas are well done as well. As you can tell, we have separately painted door handles there, which is a really nice little touch, and also nicely glazed windows too, as you can see. It is really difficult to get eyes on the interior of this model, which of course calls into question the necessity of it actually being detailed. However, as far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any interior detail. The chimney on the top doesn't seem to be connected to anything on the inside, which again is a shame. I would expect to have a guard inside there having his breakfast for the price. So in summary, yes, it's a decent looking brake van, isn't it? The weathering, I think overall does add to the model very slightly, although it could have been better, and the level of detail is fairly impressive for the most part. However, it does nothing really that the likes of Hornby or Oxford Rail don't do on their much cheaper brake vans, and for that I'm still not convinced on the value for money. However, we've still got some performance testing to do. I don't think there's going to be any huge surprises there. Hopefully the weathering won't interfere with the couplings or the spinning of the wheels or anything like that, but we will find out. So let's do that and get it going. So I have picked out one of my favourite Southern Railway locomotives. This is the Drummond 700 class, really old-fashioned 060 tender engine, so that is going to be a pleasure to see run, hopefully. I've also got some Southern Railway vans, which I don't think I've showed before. Well, I've showed them, but I don't think I've run them before in a video, so that will be really cool. And then at the back, we have the pillbox ready to go onto the track. So we'll find out now whether it's very freewheeling, whether it derails or anything like that. So let's put it on to start with and just give it a little push along. And as you can see, despite the weathering, that is running along quite nice and freely, isn't it? Look at that. yeah, I would say on the back of a train that is not going to be producing any noticeable drag, is it? Which is really good. So let's get that coupled then and send it round the layout and see how it handles the various curves. Although the wheelbase isn't that large, so I don't think it's going to cause any problems. The couplings seem to engage pretty much okay, although actually, yeah, the coupling is slightly to the left, isn't it? It's not 100% straight. So I'm going to do a few more couplings. Let's say I'll do it 10 times, and we'll see how many times it fails to couple. 10. Okay, that is all 10, and the hook failed to engage 4 in 10 times, which isn't really that good, is it? Yeah, quite a bit of a angle on that, and can't seem to straighten that. It seems to want to go back to where it was before. So yeah, it's not fantastic. The hook basically doesn't quite go over the other coupling. It's a shame that those couldn't be straight. Anyway, let's see if it actually causes a practical problem once everything's coupled up, and let's get this 700 class started. There we go, it's off. So this first curve here is 4th radius. Let's see if it does that. Yep, as expected, that's just fine. Let's see how it gets on with the 2nd radius coming up just now. Yeah, no problems whatsoever. Let's see if it's alright a bit further along on that next 2nd radius curve. Yep, absolutely fine. So that's lovely. It seems to function exactly as it should do, which is a big thumbs up. So on the other lines, I have some, well, a more well-known Southern region locomotive, I would say, than the 700 class. This is, of course, the immediately recognisable Q1, one of my personal favourites, also with a goods train and also with a Bachmann brake van. That's the Queen Mary brake van. Massive piece of work, that one. And then on the inside line, I suppose it's reasonably well known, this one, at least in model form. It is the C-Class, and I love this one because it's got the, I think this one's the one with the green lining on it. Yes, I think so. So yeah, always love an opportunity to get that one going. And with that then, let's take a look at some of my ratings for the pillbox brake van from Bachmann. So the level of detail is basically in line with most brake vans I've seen. Nice separately fitted handrails, a good degree of decorated detail. Yes, it's not too bad at all. I gave the Hornby LSWR brake 4 out of 5, and I'm going to give this the same, even though it didn't have any interior detail, so I am being a bit generous there, but I think it would be too harsh to give this a 3. But it also doesn't have sprung buffers or anything like that. And as I always say, I'm going to save the 5-star for rolling stock that has sprung buffers and that level of detail. The performance then is pretty good, generally speaking. It gets around most of my curves, well, all of my curves that I've seen so far without any problems whatsoever. It's just a bit of a shame the couplings are on the wonk, which means if you do a lot of shunting, you might run into some trouble there, particularly when you're coupling up. But besides that, yeah, it does what it's supposed to, so 4-star there. The quality I've also given 4-star to. Generally speaking, it holds together really, really well. It's well assembled, well painted. Obviously though, it is all a little bit plasticky. There's no die cast on this, which for over 30 quid wouldn't have been unreasonable. And also the weathering, of course, leaves a bit to be desired. It's certainly a little bit patchy in areas. So 4-star on the quality. The value though is where this model really falls down, because for £33.95 or £29.95 unweathered, that is just crazy. Now I got mine a lot cheaper. Mine was £17.50, which I will take into account, although that was a sale item. If you want to get a different version, you can pay up to £25 or possibly more. £23 to £25 is about the going rate for these, which is a lot more than other brake vans on the market. So I've given that a 2-star. Yeah, the price is ludicrous, it must be said. Overall then, that is 6.79 out of 10, a reasonable score and a reasonable brake van. It would have been better if it was £5 to £10 cheaper. Into the logbook it goes then, there we go, 3rd below the Hornby LSWR 20-ton brake, which I think is right and proper because the Hornby brake had more detail and it was cheaper. So do let me know what you think about this brake in the comments. Let me know, do you think there's a good reason for the massive price? I mean, £5 more than the Hornby 20-tonner is 20%, so that's a massive increase. Do you think there's any reason for that? What do you think might have caused it? Is it just greediness, or is there something I've missed? Let me know, I'd be interested to hear. And of course, on RRP, it's £9 more expensive than the Hornby LSWR brake with the weathering. Crazy, crazy stuff. I'm amazed that they can sell them for that. Well, Wales or Sheffield probably can't, which is why they've had to reduce it. But yeah, it takes some nerve, that must be said. Overall though, yes, the price lets it down, but it's a decent model. Don't go away from this video thinking it's a bad model by any means. I really like it. It's one of the better brakes I've got. Beautiful C-Class. I would love to buy the one in the SECR green, but yeah, 200 quid in it. Can't really justify it. But yeah, who knows, they might come down in price one day. Whether I'll still be alive at the time, goodness knows. But it would be nice. Right, what do you reckon? Shall we try the old points test, just to make sure it can go over that dodgy point, alright? Yep, better had. Alright, so as always, yes, this is the worst case scenario. We're on the carpet, it's a pretty tight point, it's being pushed along. If it can't do it, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the performance, but if it can do it, it does mean that it's a good solid performer. So let's try this, and hopefully it will not come off. Make sure the point's properly set. Yeah, this is the dodgiest point I have for some reason. Whether there's anything wrong with the point or just where it's situated, I'm not sure. But as you can see, the brake managed to get over there absolutely fine with no problems whatsoever. Let's set it to forwards then and bring it back out. A bit faster. Yeah, that is rock solid. So I think I can give that a Sam's Trains certified pass on performance. Seems to be solid. Very good. Right, off you go. One last run. There you have it then, folks. Another rolling stock review all done. And I must say, yeah, I enjoyed that one. It's a decent brake van and it's going to look fantastic on all of my sort of Southern or ex-Southern Railway trains. So looking forward to using it some more. For now though, thank you for your company. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments and I will see you soon. Cheers everybody. Take care.